This is the story of two Bedouin villages 20 miles apart. One in the West Bank, but the other in Israel. Over the course of 3 years, we've been recording the demolition, documenting the distress. Something the IDF at times didn't want us to film.
I will count in 3. 1.
On the front line saw people driven out of their homes, compliments of bulldozer buckets and militant settlers. If you thought the razing of Arab villages was confined to the West Bank, you'd be wrong. Even in Israel, it's ethnicity, not citizenship, that determines if your house survives. We start in the West Bank in 2022, the village of Khalat al-Daba. The cards belie an agonizing waiting game for Jabir Debabseh and his friends. The Israeli Supreme Court has just ruled that his village should be demolished to make way for an army firing zone. Local activists now spend every night here waiting for the bulldozers. Day after day, displacement comes closer. To protect himself, Jabir will move his family into the cave where his Bedouin ancestors lived before him.
لما يكون عندك بس منفذ اللي هو الباب اللي بتدخل منه بدون تهوية بدون هاي الحالة يعني حياة بتختلف لأنه صراحة يعني ممكن تأثر عليك ممكن تنخنق ممكن.
Suffocation comes slowly here, but everyone knows it's on the way. Months pass. The October the 7th atrocity occurs. After that, the demolition of Arab villages in the West Bank goes into overdrive. Then, eventually in February of this year, it's Khalat al-Daba's turn. They destroy half the village. 3 months later, they bulldoze the rest, including the caves. 90 people are left homeless. Most continue living in the rubble of their houses. Among them, Jabir Debabseh.
هو اللي صار الهدم تقريبا من هاي الزاوية عندك هناك بيوت عندك هنا بيوت عندك هاي مغارة اللي هي هاي المغارة أكبر من دولة إسرائيل عمرها حوالي 200 سنة لكن مش رايحين يغيروا شو مكان يعني احنا في الآخر صامدين.
Last year across the West Bank, almost 1,800 Arab homes were destroyed in this way. But it's not just happening in the occupied territories. 20 miles away, inside Israel itself, we hear about another demolition. This is the village of Assur. Its residents are among the 200,000 Bedouin who live in Israel's Negev desert. They're Muslims, ethnically Arab, their ancestors nomadic. But they are also citizens of Israel. And now all they can do is watch as the state destroys their homes. Once the bulldozers have finished, we follow as the Bedouin go to see what remains of their home.
كانت ثار بس اندفنت
بس
Domesticity in all its forms destroyed. One resident, Ishmael Walid, went looking in vain for anything salvageable from his home.
السود هذا كله السود تبعت البيت هذا كله طلعنا من البيت ردوا جوا.
He dismantled his own home 3 days ago. He was told if he did it himself, he'd be given somewhere new to live and his belongings would be saved.
الحين ما اعطونا ولا حاجه الحين طلعنا من الفول بلا حمص يعني خلاص كله على الفاضي اكثر من كذي نكبت 48 مشي.
With nowhere else to live, the Bedouin have no choice but to start building again.
ايش بدي اسوي؟ خلي عن العالم كيف؟ انا ايش وجهة نظرك انت في هذا؟ ماني رئيس، انا اضغط الناس مش رئيس، لا تفكر اني انا احبط واحد في
Under Israel's far-right Minister for National Security, Itamar Ben-Gvir, thousands of Bedouin homes have been destroyed. Nothing can put the brakes on the bulldozers, not supplication to a higher power, or even being a soldier with the IDF.
הנה הרסו בתים פה. אין. נגמר העולם. אין.
Last year, Ibrahim al-Ranami came back from fighting in Gaza to find a demolition order on his home in the village of Matnam.
הבדואים עד עכשיו יש אנשים בחזית, וצריך לכבד אנשים שהתגייסו בצו 8 אצל המולאים. חבל. אנשים שנותנים הרבה למדינה, ואנשים אוהבים את המדינה, אוהבים את המולדת, אנשים אין להם בעיה. אבל חבל שזה קורה ככה, שבאים להרוס לך את הבית ואין לך כלום.
The government says these are irregular settlements that fall outside of official planning zones and refuses to formally recognize them. So, after centuries living in the desert, they're being forced to move to one of a number of Arab-only towns. At the same time, though, Jewish settlers are being invited to come live in the desert. This is the settlement of Metzbe Yonathan. We ask the local mayor why it's here.
The reason the government wants the population will come to the Negev, because the Negev is 60% of the property of Israel, and less than 10% of the population lives in the Negev.
Only a certain type of citizen, though, is being invited to live in this community.
This special place is only for Orthodox families.
In some parts of the Negev, Jewish-only settlements are literally being built on top of demolished Bedouin ones, like here in al-Haran. If the replacement of Arabs by Israeli settlers feels familiar, that's because it is. We're back in the West Bank, in a cafe overlooking the demolished Bedouin village of Kalat al-Daba. No bulldozers in this Israeli settlement, just rose bay flowers and china teacups. We're here to meet Ariel Lamberger. He moved to the area after the October the 7th attacks. He says the settlers are needed to stop it happening again.
The places we don't live in, they build their homes, they walk around there, and we can't be there. So the more the places we live in, it gives us more security, not only for us, but for the whole Jewish people. If we won't sit here, the Arabs will sit here, and they'll be closer to Tel Aviv and to Jerusalem. So we here are guarding our brothers in the whole country.
If the Lambergers are the genteel face of the settler movement, we're about to meet the ones with their faces covered. We're on our way back to the ruins of Kalat al-Daba, following a convoy of IDF soldiers. Armed settlers have attacked the village, but Jabber is the one being questioned.
أنا خايف الحين يجي ياخذوه، هذا الشاب يعني مش عنده إلا ولدين ويلا يلا وطلع محل الهدم هنا عند اللي مش حين يناموا الليل والليل تعين.
As Jabber is arrested, all his son can do is watch. From a distance, we can see that someone has been injured. It's Jabba's brother, unconscious after being beaten around the head with a metal rod. We want to get closer, but the soldiers are not happy.
We can arrest you now.
Then this, a settler runs towards the village with something in his hand. The soldiers don't react, but we follow. As he approaches what's left of the village, people cower. But with the cameras on him, he tucks the item into his sleeve and walks back out. Jabber's brother is taken to hospital. The settlers who attacked him mingle with the soldiers, whose attention then turns to us. Remember, this area has been designated as an army firing zone, and they tell us we're not allowed to be here. Although that doesn't seem to apply to the settlers.
Go over there, right now. I will count in 3. 1. 2.
We're briefly detained and told to stop filming. Jabber is released the next morning, but his brother is still in hospital. The walls are literally closing in on these Bedouin men, so new tents erected next to crushed homes and bruised bodies.
صراحة تبين إنه آخر شيء إنه في معك كسر بالجمجمة وكسر بالأنف وكسر بالفك الأيمن، وعندك يعني كانت كمان كسر بالإيد، غير يعني الإصابة المباشرة اللي كانت يعني بعيدة عن عينه حوالي سنتي.
Whether in the West Bank or in Israel, the playbook is the same. Replacing populations through planning laws, bulldozers, settlers. Creating hierarchies of homes, 2 different tiers of people.